Let's get this mic on. Welcome in to another episode. Just getting these last couple things finalized so we can get in here to this show. Hopefully, y'all are not hearing the feedback. I got a fan. Excuse me. I got a fan right next to me because it is hot. Then I got this like light right on me, so I got the fan on. Hopefully the feedback is, not too bad for y'all. If the feedback is bad while I'm speaking, let me know, and then I'll just turn the fan off, and then I'll just have to push through without the fan. So, all right, getting the last couple things squared away here. I see we got some people jumping in, so that's good. Shout out to y'all for jumping in. You could be anywhere in the world on this Saturday night. You decided to tap in with me, so I definitely appreciate that. All right, so let's get this thing going. So you see the subject. The subject is, do you want to be first or right? Just to give you a little bit. Actually, no. Let's do the opening first before I don't want to get on the TED Talk too early. This is a weekly sports show. I go live every Saturday night at 7 p.m. I cover the top stories in sports. I also am heavily concentrated on Cleveland sports. I'm a Cleveland sports fan, born and raised. So I'm always going to talk about anything Cleveland sports related, especially when we have some good news going on and some good stories to talk about, which, of course, we got the number one story in sports right now. That is Shedeur Sanders. So at some point we'll be speaking on Shedeur. But other things that we'll be covering the NBA Finals, an update on the NBA Finals, and that amazing Game 1 that we had. For people who don't know, Basketball is my number one sport. Growing up as a kid, that's what I wanted to do. I'm not tall enough. That's all it was. I just wasn't tall enough. I didn't get the height to pursue basketball, so I had to pivot. Also played football growing up as well. So those are my top two sports. Just to let y'all know, that's why I always, especially during the playoffs, during towards the end of the regular season, I really start to go a little bit more into the NBA because it's a sport. Basketball is definitely a sport that I enjoy. Even going into when we make it to the WNBA playoffs, I'll be doing some coverage around the WNBA playoffs as well. My favorite team is the Las Vegas Aces. My favorite player is A'ja Wilson. I had to stop watching the game earlier today as I was prepping for the show. They were down 21 at half to an expansion team, so that was crazy. I was like, man, I can't watch this. So I don't know how they did in the second half, but I stopped watching it. That's my basketball rant. Moving forward, Coach Prime can express how he feels. We're going to get into that. A lot of people have a lot of things to say about Coach Prime. Just expressing himself and how he felt when he was asked a question on Asante Samuel's podcast. We are going to cover that. We're going to break it down, and we're going to show you how so many people missed the actual question that Asante Samuels asked him, which caused him to answer the question that way. A lot of people missed it. And so we're going to break that thing down like a fraction. Of course, as you know how we do. We don't leave any stone unturned as we're in the pursuit of finding out the truth. After that, we have more OTAs. So, of course, we got more OTA stats. I guess people don't have a problem with the stats when Shedeur throws a pick, but they got the problem with the stats when he doesn't throw a pick. We'll get into that. Dillon Gabriel and Kenny Pickett. We have some people in the Cleveland media who are claiming that Kenny Pickett could be the number one quarterback to start the year. I don't see it, but now they're forced to, because of all the scrutiny and the attention that's on the Browns, even the people who support Kenny Pickett the most are forced to say when he's not doing well. They've also been forced to kind of course correct on Dillon Gabriel. So we're going to cover that. And then we added a new segment to the show that I really like. It kind of brings, you all, the viewers, into my world, and you get to see the comments from my most viral TikToks and the things that people say. One thing I realize is I don't think most people actually watch the videos. So if you notice, I've kind of changed the format on my videos to actually kind of give you information on what the video is about. So just in case if you don't listen to the whole, I try to keep my videos right around 1 minute and 30 seconds max. So even if you don't watch that 90 seconds, I'm trying to put it on the screen for you and give you just a summary so you can see exactly how I feel about a subject. Some people still miss it. So I don't know how. After that, that'll be comment creeping. Also, Off the Record D on all platforms. If you want to see me live, you have to follow me on Twitch, TikTok, or X. That's where you find me live Saturday nights at 7 p.m. If you do have to jump off the stream because I stream for a couple hours, you can catch the replays on my YouTube channel, Off the Record D on YouTube. You can get that. I always release it as long as I don't have any technical issues. I release that at 11 a.m. on Sunday, so you can watch the whole replay. And then also, I even put timestamps in there for you. So if there is a certain subject that you just want to jump to and check that out, I put the timestamps in there for you. And I work really hard to make sure I get that out to you Sundays, 11 a.m. on my YouTube channel, Off the Record D. Now, I want to show you some things that I've been working on. So we're going to adjust the screen here. So let's see. I want to get this up and put you down. And I want to make sure I keep this here just in case I get comments. I'm not sure if I'm getting comments on TikTok because I've done something a little bit different, but I'll have to double check. I'll keep looking out for TikTok comments. So if you see here, this is my X account. I'm just going to scroll down a little bit. Right here, you're going to see Shedeur Sanders' jersey. This is his jersey, number 12 for the Cleveland Browns. Right above that, you're going to see a Fanatics link. I've been accepted into the Fanatics affiliate program. So if you want to help the channel without spending any extra money and doing something you're already going to do by getting your Cleveland Browns gear or getting gear for whatever team that you root for, you can go to my X and click the link, and that'll help out the channel. And also, you can still use whatever discount code pops up when you go to the Fanatics website. So if you want to help the channel, that's one way you can help support the channel with doing something that you're already going to do. You're going to get your gear so you can get closer to the game. So definitely check that out on my X account. I also worked on something else this week. So hopefully it pops up. So still here on my X account, I have all my links in one place. So right below my bio on my X account, and I put this across all of my accounts, I got a link space. So we're going to click that and let it pop up for you. This is going to be my link space here. You'll see my other logo at the top of the screen, and then you can get all the links. So if you want to use my Fanatics link, you can click that here. If you want to get to my TikTok, you can click that here. You want to get to my X, my Twitch, my YouTube, and also Streamlabs. I use Streamlabs Ultra for all of my streaming. This is another affiliate program that I have joined. So if you want to support the channel and you want to get into streaming, you can use my link here and you'll get 7 days of Streamlabs Ultra. Ultra lets you do everything. So that's where you can edit. You can use their Streamlabs Studio, which is what I use to stream mostly. But if you need to stream on web-based, you can do web-based. They have editing software. They help you create websites. So there's a lot of cool things that you can use with Streamlabs Ultra. So if you just click on my link space, you want to help the channel and also use Streamlabs Ultra free 7-day trial, click the link on my link space. All right, so that's my commercials. Trying to expand this thing, trying to keep this thing moving forward, just with some new things, some new approaches. So I'm always looking to upgrade. I'm always looking to make things better. So from time to time, I'm not the person. I'm not going to beat you over the head with a million ads. But probably what I'll do is remind everybody probably at the beginning or the end of streams just to check out my Fanatics link if you want to get some gear, or even if you're looking to get it into streaming, check out my Streamlabs link. But I'm not going to beat you over the head with that because I know you're here for the content. You're here for the opinions. You're here for the facts. You're here for everything else. So that's what I'll make sure I keep the main thing. All right. So getting into the topic of today, where I asked the question, do you want to be first or do you want to be right? The thing that got me thinking about that and kind of tied it into how the media works is somebody asked me a question on my X account, and I told them basically the cheat code for why I started my channel was I wanted to be an alternative place that you can come to get, sports coverage, also get some insight, and then how I view things. So I'm always looking at the media. I'm never really, if you notice, I don't target players. I don't try to clown players. I don't try to diss players. I think that's what the media does, and I think that's a mistake. So I give you my opinion I try even not to demean the media, even when I don't agree with them. So coming from last week's episode where the media was going crazy, now we're going to look more at the national media and see if they want to be first or they're right. Because I was just seeing clips all throughout the week as I was, I go through the week and I'm kind of seeing what are the hot button topics of the week. And it's always the same. It's always the media creating a narrative and then kind of backing down from the narrative that they create. So we're going to start off. I'm just going to get to some bookmarks here. We're going to start off with some narratives that the media created, and then we're going to go to how players are pushing back against those narratives. So it's not just the Cleveland media and Shador Sanders. It's not just the Cleveland media and the Cleveland Browns. It's not just us. It is widespread across all different sports with the coverage and what the media thinks will sell. So the first one here, we're going to bring up Wendy, and this was posted by Mind the Game. That is LeBron and Stephen Nash, their podcast that they do jointly together. So I'm not going to be able to play it towards the end because they do have some music, But I'm just going to play this and show you what Brian Windhorst said about this podcast before this podcast actually aired. So let me see. Let me start this thing over. Let's pause it. Let's start it over. And let's get some volume and let's get this thing going. So let's play it.
When people talk about the game of basketball, they want to talk about the drama. If you do a full show that's all X and O's, that's not going to be any good either. If he sits down with Steve Nash and all he does is an X's and O's for an hour, people aren't going to like that either. Psych!
All right, so it's going to get to some music there, but you kind of see the media believes that they have to add a story or a narrative to every situation that they are talking about to kind of add some spice to it, add some drama. They believe that's the only way that people will tune in. They believe that if you're just breaking down the game and you're giving people facts, people won't tune in, which Mind the Game actually showed. They're trending. They're doing great numbers. People will tune in. You can have alternatives. So you can have where the old media kind of does the drama and the narratives. You can have the new media who is fact-checking the old media. And then you can have the player-driven media who is breaking down the X and O's. There's room for everybody to live, and people get to pick and choose what they enjoy the most. So that's the NBA. Now we're going to get to, this is Rickea Jackson. Now, she suffered a concussion, the first concussion she suffered in her career. There were rumors coming out that she was pregnant and all these things because she took personal time away from the game. And she's saying basically she didn't feel right after the concussion, which most people, especially the first concussion, it could affect them differently. So she's going to break down how there are media narratives that she had to move off of or she had to correct. So here it is. This is the WNBA's Rickea Jackson. She plays for the LA Sparks.
Before, so that was definitely weird for your brain to go through those things and you just wake up and just go out of it. But I'm just happy to be back with you.
How's the situation with you and the team? You were away from the team the last couple of days. Kind of, what's the situation been? Before the last game, coach said that they support you, whatever you're going through. So, kind of, what's the situation with you and the team at this point?
Yeah, we're here to win. Personal time is needed. Concussion, lingering things, just a lot of things that go into things like that. But just happy to be back with my team.
How do you balance your mental health as far as making sure that you don't listen to outside noise? I know you listen to some of the outside noise. You kind of made some things, clear some rumors up. But how do you balance that and make sure that you stay focused and not get too much sidetracked?
Yeah, you just got to be realistic with yourself. At the end of the day, media isn't about facts anymore. It's about who can get out the quickest story that's going to blow up the most. So that's just the media, just taking it with a grain of salt and not being gullible. I feel like, people, whatever sounds the juiciest, that's what people want to go with. I'm pregnant apparently. So it's media isn't media. Apparently I follow this. I've never followed any, team I played for since AAU. I've never followed. I like to follow real people. But rumors are rumors.
How's your relationship, especially?
All right, so you see, right in that clip, I don't know what happened there. Right in that clip, she actually broke down the title to today's show. And it's one of those things where I just start to see it more and more, where I realize that people are liking the stories. People are liking what comes out first. But a lot of times when you rush to be first, you miss a lot of details. So one thing I want to provide is, if I'm covering a story, I want to provide details. And that's part of the reason why last week I was saying, hey, I don't want to fall for the trap of always doing a show, always having the next show coming up. And then I get into where majority of my show is speculation. Now, there is going to be some speculation at times in my show. There is going to be some predictions at times in my show. But my show is not going to only live in that world of speculation and predictions. A lot of times that's the route that the media likes to take, and then they end up in bad situations when they take that route. And I don't want to take that route. So you see here, that's just two examples. That's an NBA example. That's a WNBA example to show it's not just the NFL. It's not just the Cleveland Browns. It's not just Shedeur Sanders. This is something that's happening across media where you're having people different leagues are saying that, hey, this is something that's going on. So now we're going to get to, I do so much research as I'm breaking this stuff down. And I was watching Low, because I like to watch. Let me walk y'all through it as I get this thing pulled up. So I was watching Low before the NBA Finals started. Oh, y'all can't see it. There we go. Okay, good. There we go. So this is Low, and he primarily covers the NBA. And I watch a lot of different content creators. If a content creator has put together a following in whatever they're doing, I'm looking at what can I kind of take away from them and implement it in what I do, because I always want to get better. And while doing that this week, this is a breakdown of him calling out somebody in the media who predicted that this NBA Finals will be boring. Now, my prediction for this NBA Finals was I picked the Oklahoma City Thunder to win. It was close. I was kind of going back and forth at the last minute. And the thing that kind of put me over the edge was can Oklahoma City Thunder's defense kind of slow down and stop and cause issues for the Pacers offense? I think that's where the matchup is going to be won. And as you saw, OKC's defense, they just let the Pacers stay too close in game one. But this is going to be before the finals. And this is also someone speaking on how they view things in the media. So let's get to it. Fair use for all the videos I'm used tonight. I'm going to take you around the world. A lot of different, content creators that, we're going to be fair use in their videos. So fair use for all the videos. And shout out to Lo. Let's get it.
Is that when it comes to people like this moron, Jason McIntyre, the reason why he doesn't like it is because it's harder for him to report on it. And I use that loosely. Report and break it down and talk about it because there's no narratives going into it. See, it's easy to talk about the finals when LeBron is a part of it because that story writes itself. When Curry was a part of it and the Warriors, because that story writes itself. Shaq and Kobe, they write themselves. But when the Pistons win back in 2004, not so much. When the Spurs were winning, not so much. So you couldn't actually invest into these teams. And so instead of actually talking about them up and speaking highly of these players, you decide to trash them every step along the way. And this moron, not even the first one to do it on this platform. Like last series, and I don't know what's going on. Nick Wright did the exact same thing.
I hope you're right, bro.
All right, so we're going to pause it there. So as you see, he is already Lowe is having an issue with how the game is being covered. And he's saying these guys are covering the game and kind of it's longer because that's like a 22-minute video. He's going to say these guys are covering the game and they don't love the game. And I see that across every different sport. I love the NBA. I love the NFL. I love the competition. I love the camaraderie. I love the, being part of a team. I love all those things about rooting, for the teams and the players that I want to see be successful. And he is already calling it out, saying these guys, I don't think they love what they do. It's more of a job that they just show up to, and their job just so happens to be they talk about sports. So you will hear things that are just off base. You will hear things that they will say that just don't really make sense, like saying this finals was going to be boring when you have a Oklahoma City team who won at a historic rate this year. You got the top two teams the second half of the year since January actually playing in the finals versus one another. You got Tyrese Halliburton coming into his own and proving that he's a superstar. People like Stephen A. still don't want to call Halliburton a superstar, even though every round he's hitting game-winning shots versus every team. He did it in the finals. You can call that a game winner because it was 0.3 left and they didn't really have a chance to get a regular shot off. He did it against the Cavs. He did it against New York. He did it against Milwaukee, where he crossed over Giannis and did the layup. So he did it in every single round. And instead of just enjoy the greatness, enjoy the parity that's happening in the NBA, where different teams are, going to the finals every year, they're complaining. So this is across every sport. People are getting on the media and they're saying, hey, I don't like the way this is happening. I don't like the way I don't like the way they're covering the game. So that's the first part that I wanted to go over with Los. This is a long video, so I got another clip. I got to see around my light here. There we go. So this is another part that I wanted to share from Lo where he's breaking this down. So let's get to it. This is funny to me.
They're idiots! You all are getting everything that you want. You're getting a team that plays defense. You're getting a small market team, so you're getting more wins being allocated to other teams that's not just the Lakers and the Miami Heat and big markets. You're getting a star that lives in the mid-range in a team that does not overly depend on three-point shooting. And you're getting new faces on top of that. The problem, however, is that because over the last 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years, y'all been sitting here trying to prop up player after player after player after player that does not live up to any of the expectations, and yet another player after player after player after player comes through and they exceed them. But in the process of doing so, they get disrespected, so then when they get to the top, no one gives a They're actively telling us that they don't care about a 26-year-old guard who's having a historic season, leading a historic team. That's something you should not be invested in.
All right, so that's funny there. He had a little slight crash out there. But that's true. This is everything you want. You got two small market teams. You got exciting teams. You got teams who, just kept continuously putting other teams out. You got SGA. I noticed that during the Minnesota series, everybody wanted why is his name slipping me? Anthony Edwards. Everybody wanted to see Anthony Edwards in the finals. Last year, this weird thing started to happen around January. People started to say Anthony Edwards was the next Michael Jordan, and the media started saying these things, and then they started to say, hey, they even look alike, and they have the same swag and all this stuff. And that's that goes back to the first clip where Lo was saying the media wants what's easy. Covering this finals is not easy. You have to know what you're talking about. You're going to put your foot in your mouth if you don't understand that the Pacers, part of their defense is their pace. They put so much pressure on you when they're on offense that helps them on defense. If you haven't watched the Pacers, you're saying, like Stephen A. Smith is saying, Halliburton is not a superstar. He is a traditional point guard. Traditional point guards normally are not scoring 30-plus a game to show that that's the only way to be a superstar. We watched Steve Nash. Steve Nash won back-to-back MVPs. He won that second one over Kobe that he shouldn't have. He did not average 30. That team was excited. They ran. They got out there. He controlled the pace of the game. That is what you are seeing. Chris Paul. When does Chris Paul average 30? When have people said the only way we're going to view Chris Paul as a superstar is if he averaged 30? So with Halliburton, they just want him to be something that they're not. And I noticed something clicked where, I know I didn't talk about this, I didn't even put it on the rundown, but Tibbs, when Tibbs got fired, people were saying that he's supposed to make Karl Anthony Towns become a good defender. Karl Anthony Towns is not a good defender. So how can you put on the coach to make him become a good defender when that's not what he's known for, that's not what he's good at, and he's going to get attacked? The player are who they are. Players don't just become invincible and don't have any weakness in their game. I saw somebody talking about Shaq, and they were saying, man, if Shaq could have just shot free throws. Players going to have weakness. He couldn't really get better at free throws. That's what it is. So instead of understanding what their weakness is and just enjoying what they do well, people complain about what they don't do, and they make all the stories and the narratives that Windhurst was talking about earlier in that clip. That's what they make it about, instead of making it about the actual game. Instead of making it about how the Pacers attacked Brunson, the Pacers attacked Cat, the Pacers forced Tibbs to have to play more players. I called it in the first game. I was like, this pace is going to get to the Knicks. in games 3, 4, whatever, once you get deeper in the series, the Knicks are going to have to play more guys. What happened? People are saying, oh, man, the Knicks are making mental mistakes. Where were the mental mistakes coming from? The mental mistakes were coming because they were fatigued. They were just getting foul calls against them that they shouldn't have been making silly mistakes. That's fatigue. Fatigue all day. So I just wanted to show you all that, as we get into the football topics, you'll see that the WNBA is talking about narratives. The NBA is talking about narratives, going at the media. You have other people who cover the NBA talking about the media's narratives. So there's more to these media narratives, and people just accept them, and then they say something to you for questioning the media narrative. So I got a clip here. Let's go back. Let's get this up so y'all can see it. Let's get that Chrome. There we go. All right, got it for y'all. I don't know if this clip is going to be, I'm going to leave it small, this clip here. But this is Tyrese Halliburton hitting the game-winning shot. So during the timeout, when they reviewed the call to see if Pascal Siakam got pushed in the back, Rick Carlisle told them, we're not calling a timeout if they miss. We're just going to go. And by doing that, guys just got to pick up who's around them. So just to most people, it seemed like that wouldn't matter. But that's a big thing because you want Dort on Halliburton when he's trying to take the last shot. But they got cross-matched because they just pushed it. Their defense couldn't get set. So now you have Halliburton going against Wallace. Wallace did as good as he can, but Halliburton got to exactly where he wanted to get to, and also he wasted enough time in getting to that spot. So that's just one of those things where how can you tell me this finals is not exciting? This is an exciting finals. I'm enjoying this finals. And it's only one game in. So let's keep this thing moving along. And remember, this is about, do you want to be first or do you want to be right? This is no diss to people. We're just pointing out things that people are talking about and what's happening. So if you're on TikTok, connects. Okay. Let me put this back in. See, I haven't been seeing nothing on TikTok. It says my live has ended on TikTok, which is weird. All right. So I knew something was up. I wasn't seeing much happening on TikTok. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to end the stream here. I know where my spot is. And then I'm going to restart the stream going back live to make sure we get TikTok back on there. So we're just going to get this stream restarted up. I'm not sure what happened, why it ended like that. So catch y'all in a few.